Life hadn't been easy for people like us who had little to spare. That day, we were reminded of our humble means in the most heart-wrenching way. I couldn't grasp the harsh words coming from Rachel, my sister-in-law. She was always quick to express her displeasure about everything, but this time, it felt different. Rachel had hidden a gift meant for her daughter, Angela, and now it seemed she had taken away the present Angela had excitedly prepared. Without a second thought, Rachel criticized the gift right in front of Angela, discarding it as if it were worthless. To Rachel, if a present wasn't from a well-known brand, it didn't count. There, on the floor, lay the earrings Angela had chosen with so much care, now scattered and being picked up by other children. Angela stood frozen, disbelief and sadness taking over her as she began to cry. At 10, facing such rejection was overwhelming. The room's atmosphere turned colder when my mother-in-law laughed at Angela's tears, with Rachel looking on in apparent satisfaction. But their cruel joy was short-lived. I am Shirley, balancing a part-time job while raising Angela, my precious daughter, as I approach my 60s. Angela, who turned 10 this year, was born from my first marriage, which ended tragically when my husband passed away in a car accident, leaving Angela fatherless at 5. Overwhelmed by grief but determined, I vowed to provide for Angela, taking on any job I could find. Years later, I met Anthony at work. Despite the challenges of being a single mom, Anthony's support and kindness towards Angela and me stood out. He became a beacon of hope and love in our lives. Initially wary, Angela gradually warmed up to Anthony, marking the beginning of a new chapter for us. Despite the hardships and the judgment we faced, our small family found strength in love and resilience, standing together against the world's harshness. Anthony came into our lives gently, first as a friend, before naturally stepping into a fatherly role. Angela, feeling the warmth of his kindness, gradually opened her heart to him. Before long, she started calling him Dad and showed genuine happiness in our shared moments. Anthony, with an open heart, revealed his infertility to us, emphasizing that despite this, he saw Angela as his own and cherished our small family as it was. This vulnerability didn't weaken our bond. Instead, it made us appreciate the love and care we had for each other even more. Anthony's actions continually proved his love for Angela, especially in times when she needed care and support, like when she fell ill. His inability to have biological children never dimmed the love he showed us. His dedication to Angela, treating her as his own, solidified my decision to stay by his side, valuing the deep connection we had formed. We made the decision to embrace the joy and love present in our lives, moving in together and eventually marrying when Angela was 10. My father-in-law welcomed our union with open arms, doting on Angela as his granddaughter, which helped Angela form a close bond with him. This warmth, however, wasn't mirrored by my mother-in-law, who viewed me with suspicion and blamed me for any and every household mishap, from missing dishes to a single speck of dust, accusing me of negligence. The criticism wasn't just from my mother-in-law. Rachel, Anthony's older sister, also targeted me with her words. Living close to the in-laws, her visits were frequent, contrasting with our occasional trips due to the distance from our home. Rachel, craving attention, often used these visits to undermine me, flaunting her material possessions, well aware of our modest means. Our family's roots lie in Minneapolis, far from our current life in West Virginia, leaving us somewhat isolated without the possibility of relying on extended family for support. My part-time job and our simple lifestyle meant luxury and designer brands were beyond our reach, a fact Rachel exploited to assert her perceived superiority. Despite these challenges, our family's strength comes from the love and understanding we share, not the material possessions we own. Rachel also balanced a part-time job, but it was clear her husband's substantial income allowed her luxuries I could hardly dream of. She boasted outfits worth thousands dollars, while her children dressed in simple store-bought attire. This disparity highlighted our different values. While Rachel splurged on herself, I preferred to invest in Angela's happiness over expensive personal adornments. The constant negativity from my mother-in-law and Rachel was exhausting. Angela, still so young, seemed to instinctively avoid their presence, retreating to her room to watch videos whenever they visited. It pained me to see her caught in the middle of these adult conflicts, yet she had formed a cautious impression of them. Despite the ongoing tension, support came from within our family. My father-in-law in particular did not hide his disapproval of Rachel's behavior, often stepping in to mediate disputes. Anthony, too, shared no fond childhood memories of his sister, frequently recounting tales of her selfishness. Since moving out, Anthony had limited his visits home, primarily to allow his parents time with Angela, avoiding unnecessary interactions with Rachel. Interestingly, Angela and Rachel's children got along quite well, a silver lining that reminded us of the importance of keeping their budding friendships unaffected by our adult disagreements. With Anthony and my father-in-law's support, we managed to maintain a civil distance from Rachel, making our infrequent gatherings bearable. As Angela grows older, I anticipate our visits will become even less frequent, requiring just a bit more patience on our part. I reassured Anthony and myself that we could handle this. The holiday season brought a new opportunity for interaction, an invitation to a Christmas party at my in-laws, organized by Rachel with assistance from my father-in-law. He thoughtfully included Angela, aware of her excitement for such gatherings. Given the event's timing on a Sunday, Anthony and I, both off from work, decided to accompany Angela. Christmas parties often involve gift exchanges, a tradition we couldn't escape. Aware of our financial limitations, we planned to contribute a thoughtful, if not lavish, gift. Rachel, ever bold, included a list of preferred gifts with the invitation, setting expectations that seemed worlds apart from our modest means. Yet, we prepared to face the event with grace, focusing on the joy it would bring Angela. Rachel's wish list for the children's gift exchange was filled with luxury brands and high-end items, each costing over $200, hardly suitable for a children's party. It was clear that Rachel's children rarely sported such extravagant items. The list seemed more tailored for Rachel herself than for any child. Choosing to sidestep her extravagant expectations, we encouraged Angela to pick out a gift that felt right to her. After several shopping trips filled with excitement and an ever-growing list of possibilities, Angela settled on a pair of earrings and colorful erasers, amounting to about $75. The simplicity and thoughtfulness of her choice contrasted sharply with Rachel's lavish list. As the party approached, Angela's anticipation grew. We aimed to keep the atmosphere positive, focusing on the joy of the occasion. The celebration featured handmade, decorations by Rachel's kids, and a feast prepared by my father-in-law, a former chef, showcasing his culinary skills with a beautifully decorated cake and roast chicken. The party layout allowed the children to revel in the festive spirit in the living room, while the adults congregated in a smaller room, once Anthony's childhood space, to chat and share drinks. Rachel's husband was absent due to work commitments, and Rachel herself seemed to avoid me, a sentiment I reciprocated. When the time came for the gift exchange, Angela enthusiastically offered her chosen presents to Rachel's daughter, who received them with joy. It became evident that Rachel's insistence on specific, expensive gifts was not shared by her daughters, who were delighted with the thoughtful selection Angela had made. The exchange proceeded with fun and laughter, following a traditional game where music played and the children passed around the gifts until the music stopped. However, a hiccup arose when it seemed a gift was missing, leading to confusion among the kids. As I searched among the scattered toys and snacks, Rachel burst into the room, her frustration boiling over. She directed her anger towards Angela, making unfounded accusations and demanding we leave. Her outburst was shocking, revealing her true feelings and causing a stir among everyone present. Despite the commotion, it was clear that the heart of the celebration, the children and their genuine enjoyment of the simple joys of gift-giving, was what truly mattered. The incident with Rachel underscored the stark differences in our values and priorities, but it also highlighted the importance of understanding and compassion, qualities that were evidently missing from Rachel's approach to the festive gathering. In a surprising turn of events, Rachel had hidden a gift meant for Angela, only to dramatically reject it in front of everyone. She criticized the present Angela had excitedly prepared, dismissing it as unworthy and demanding we leave for not meeting her high standards. The scene was heartbreaking as Angela's carefully chosen earrings lay scattered on the floor, picked up by other children while she stood in shock, tears brimming in her eyes. At 10, such rejection was deeply hurtful, and Rachel seemed pleased with the distress she caused. However, the situation took a sharp turn when my father-in-law, typically calm and reserved, intervened with unexpected fervor. He defended Angela passionately, scolding Rachel for her harshness, a side of him I had never witnessed. Even my mother-in-law, previously joining in on the mockery, fell silent under his rebuke. It was revealed that my father-in-law and Anthony, having abstained from alcohol, had observed the entire ordeal. Anthony had shared with my father-in-law Rachel's unreasonable demands for expensive brand name gifts. Disappointed by such materialistic values, my father-in-law seized the moment to address the issue. Amidst the tension, Rachel's children began to show kindness to Angela, offering comfort despite their mother's objections. Rachel, panicking, tried to pull them away, fearing they would be influenced by Angela's poverty. Yet, the children ignored her, rallying around Angela in a silent protest against their mother's and grandmother's behavior. This unexpected solidarity among the children clearly shocked Rachel and my mother-in-law, who had underestimated their compassion and sense of justice. My father-in-law then took this opportunity to teach a valuable lesson. He gathered the children and recounted a tale from Rachel's past, illustrating her long-standing struggle with materialism. He explained how Rachel, drawn by the allure of quick money, worked in environments that prized luxury and appearance over substance, leading to her obsession with designer brands. This story served as a poignant reminder of the values we choose to embrace and the impact of our actions on those around us, offering a moment of reflection in the midst of a heated family gathering. Struggling financially, Rachel maintained her expensive habits for years until her third year of university, when her secret club job was discovered by my father-in-law. Faced with the threat of being thrown out, Rachel left her nightclub job. This marked the only occasion, according to my father-in-law, that he had ever raised his voice at her. Subsequently, Rachel took up a job as a supermarket cashier before landing a position at an office where she met her future husband. Despite leaving her job upon marriage, her penchant for luxury items persisted, often leading to criticism from her husband, who believed one should only buy what they can afford themselves. The gift suggestions Rachel made for us were, in truth, items she desired for herself. When confronted about her lavish lifestyle on a part-time salary, Rachel claimed to manage it through increased work shifts. However, her argument crumbled when my father-in-law revealed her debt situation, leaving her speechless and deflated. The revelation cast a shadow over the Christmas party, prompting us to leave early to spare the children from a tarnished holiday memory. On our way home, we bought Angela her favorite stuffed animal and celebrated quietly as a family. Months later, we learned Rachel's marriage had ended in divorce after her husband discovered her hidden debts, including the cancellation of their children's education in Surrance to Foon, her luxury purchases. This led to a fallout with her ex-husband's family, and eventually, Rachel was disowned. Since then, Rachel's children, now teenagers, have chosen to live with their father. Rachel faces legal action for alimony and child support, which she struggles to pay. Despite these challenges, their father ensures they do not suffer financially, although raising 3 children alone is no small feat. Seeing an opportunity to assist, I considered helping with the children's education, leveraging my research into online learning. Anthony, who has a natural rapport with children and has previously helped them with their studies, agreed to support them online at the request of their father. This not only aids in their education, but strengthens the bond between our families, offering a glimmer of hope and support in the midst of challenging times. 9 months have passed since the divorce, and I still find myself receiving angry messages from Rachel. She continues to shirk responsibility, lashing out at Anthony and her own children, claiming her efforts in raising them were unappreciated. She insists they will regret their decisions, labeling the divorce as a grave injustice. Rachel has since moved back to her parents' house, where my mother-in-law, despite Rachel's erratic behavior, has been unwavering in her support. This shift in my mother-in-law's attitude, from once scolding Rachel to now endorsing her every action, raised eyebrows, especially for my father-in-law, who sensed something was amiss. Prompted by his suspicions, my father-in-law embarked on a discreet investigation into my mother-in-law's actions, eventually uncovering compelling evidence. He urged us to visit, and so, after a long hiatus, Anthony and I returned to my in-laws' residence. Our visits had become rare, as my father-in-law often preferred to visit us instead. Arriving at a house that once brimmed with festive cheer but now seemed somber, we stumbled upon documents revealing debts incurred in my father-in-law's name. A discovery that baffled us, knowing his prudent nature. Caught off guard by our presence, Rachel and my mother-in-law returned home to find us sifting through the evidence of their financial misdeeds. Confronted with these revelations, my father-in-law stepped in, separating Anthony from an agitated Rachel and laying bare the extent of their financial ruin. Not only had Rachel amassed debt under her father's name after exhausting her own creditworthiness, but it was also revealed that my mother-in-law had squandered their retirement savings on extravagant expenditures alongside Rachel. The savings my father-in-law, a dedicated and frugal company employee, had accumulated over the years for a comfortable retirement, totaling about $2.5 million, had vanished in just 4 years, leaving them with a staggering debt of approximately $2.8 million. Rachel and my mother-in-law attempted to deflect blame, casting it on Rachel's ex-husband and various other unfounded excuses. However, my father-in-law, armed with undeniable facts, methodically dismantled their arguments. In a decisive move, he presented a divorce form to my mother-in-law, expressing that being associated with her had become his life's regret and disowning Rachel as his daughter. The sight of the divorce document sent my mother-in-law into a state of panic, marking a turning point in a saga that had been fraught with denial and blame shifting. The revelation and subsequent actions underscored the deep fractures within the family, brought on by unchecked desires and financial irresponsibility. In the aftermath of the confrontation, my mother-in-law tearfully urged Rachel to apologize, but Rachel stood firm, refusing to acknowledge her mistakes. The situation escalated until my father-in-law, having heard enough, decided to leave. Rachel, previously defiant, suddenly became anxious, realizing the gravity of her actions too late. That evening, as Anthony and I tried to unwind at home, Rachel unexpectedly showed up at our doorstep, well past a reasonable hour. Anthony, attempting to handle the situation, was met with Rachel's indignation. It was clear that after being ousted from her parents' home, following a fallout with my mother-in-law, Rachel found herself with nowhere to turn. Her attempts to seek refuge at her ex-husband's home were futile, leading her to our doorstep, unwilling to spend on accommodations. Anthony firmly refused her entry, threatening to call the police if she did not leave. Despite this, Rachel persisted, causing a commotion until we had no choice but to follow through on our warning. As she was taken away by the police, Rachel's bitter exclamations echoed in the night. Over time, it became apparent that Rachel's unwillingness to reflect on her actions had severed her relationships. Nearing 60, her chances of altering her deep-seated habits seemed slim. The fallout led to a strained relationship between Rachel and my mother-in-law, leaving them both isolated and burdened with debt. My father-in-law, thankful for our support, updated us on their situation. In an ironic twist, my mother-in-law managed to pay alimony to my father-in-law, likely accruing more debt in the process. Despite these challenges, my father-in-law began rebuilding his life, working as a taxi driver and finding a new place to live. Rachel's children maintained their relationship with their grandfather, a silver lining amidst the turmoil. This experience prompted a reflection on the true value of money and material possessions. The following Christmas at my father-in-law's new home was a testament to this shift in perspective. Gifts were chosen with care, not for their brand names, but for the joy they would bring. This incident reinforced the importance of values and character over material wealth. As Angela remains close with Rachel's children, I watch over them, hoping they learn from their mother's mistakes and choose a path of gratitude and humility, valuing relationships and integrity over fleeting material satisfaction.